When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
I'm Sienna.
And I'm Toast.
We're partners in love, life, and music, and we've been together since 2001.
With each episode of this podcast, our goal is to help our fellow LGBT community members lift their lives to the next level.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome to this episode.
Hope you're having a great day.
Or night.
Or night, whatever it might be. Okay, so I just love this topic.
This is a creepy, spooky, weird one that human beings are learning about right now.
Well, you know what? There were actually some pretty innovative films done on this very topic that back in the day it was kind of like, what is that?
What the F?
What the bleep? Like, it was just, what? This is true, people. Say, tell them the...
So the saying that you may have heard before is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
I mean, this is real.
It's
real. And it's not just about, be Pollyanna and be an optimist and see the world with rose-colored glasses. I mean, in a very general, sweeping way, the idea of rose-colored glasses, yes. But there's science backing
Well, this reminds me of a story I heard about an experiment in a school where different teachers were told that the students in their classroom were either above average or they were told, your students are below average. And based purely on that teacher's perception and the way that they saw their students, that affected the way that the students
thrived or not.
Performed,
yes. 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 Because, and why? Why is that?
Because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Well, we are energetic beings. First and foremost, we are energetic beings. And even things that are inanimate have an energy to it. I have to cough because I'm getting all excited.
Okay, this reminds me of a tweet. This is just like a lateral thinking podcast. This reminds me of a tweet I saw by Neil deGrasse Tyson. He said,
we love him.
He said, you matter. Except when you're multiplied by the speed of light, then you energy. So geeky, yeah?
It's very
okay,
geeky.
anyways.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, we gotta give a little more structure here because it's before we just
are
talking about anything.
So we're all about this is all about perceptions, and we're just going to have a fun conversation about the power that we have over our perceptions and the power of that.
Right, because sometimes with our circumstances in life, when things happen, because things will happen.
Like shit.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
So we have to realize that even though we may not feel we can control those things, we do have control over our perception of what just happened, over our perception of our circumstances. That is absolutely within our control. If we can get over it, if we can get over ourselves, cultivate
that's the hard part.
This,
I think,
to cultivate and choose to be and operate from this place of power and adjust our perception in order for it to be aligned with the highest vision that we have for ourselves.
I think, you know what, for me, that's the hard part, is to change my perception and to relinquish and let go of my old perception.
But I think it's really, I think that's a challenge for all of us, really.
Yeah.
Because it's just a condition, it's just a habit to react a certain way.
And I think that in addition to a particular way of perceiving being a habit, I think it's also the way that our ego, or the way that we have a sense of self, right? Like I have this opinion. That's who I am. I have this opinion of and this way of looking at things. So if I give that up, who am I?
That is
Right?
exactly, and the one that is saying, "Oh, I have this opinion," that's from the ego,
Right.
and the ego doesn't want to die. It thinks it's going to die if it doesn't have that attachment. So, yeah, it's so interesting.
That's the tricky part.
It is very tricky. It's very tricky. So, with this, with the knowledge of this maybe newfound power of being able to change your perception, something you have to remember is it's not about, okay, well, when something bad happens or something perceived as bad happens, it doesn't mean, oh, you can't feel badly about it, or, oh, however you feel about it, don't feel that way and just sweep it under the rug and be happy and change your perception.
Oh, that's so
It does
gross and
not
creepy.
mean that, because being in your position and place of power, being in your own personal spiritual power, means to be and to have those feelings.
Okay.
You want to honor those feelings because many times those feelings, it's like our antennas, it's important to pay attention to how you feel. So you can't just kind of shut down some and say these feelings are not good.
Oh, and say that, well, I'm
but these are
untouchable.
good. Right. It's like you need
nothing matters to me because I'm just above it all, like that.
Right. So feeling the feelings is an important step in being in your place of power. So if something happens and you're like, oh my God, that happened, you don't just jump to and find the new perception. Okay, feel how you feel about that thing happening. Oh my God, I can't believe that happened. I'm so stressed out. I don't know, this is going to be so bad. I just can't, and be in that for a moment. The thing about it is to have those feelings.
Honor them.
Respect
them.
But then to realize, okay, all right, you know what? I don't have to allow this situation, this circumstance, to have so much power. I can remember the more infinite side of me that has more power than this little circumstance. So you kind of put things in perspective as far as everything that's happening is truly happening for us. And I think that's a hard one to swallow.
Yeah.
Because it's like, really? But when you think about the worst things that have happened to you, that have felt like they're happening to you, you can see how you've grown from them, know?
So
it's
true.
inspired you to evolve. And it's like, without that, would you have evolved in that way? Possibly. But we need these things, to help us grow to the next level. And so if we can really curb that initial reaction of wanting to just think like, oh my God, that's happening to me. I'm so mad at that. I just, and staying stuck in that. If we can curb that, feel it, honor the feelings like you said, take some deep breaths, and then go, okay, you know what? But I'm not going to allow that to have power over me. What is a way I can view this in order to stay aligned with my higher purpose, in order to stay aligned with the better part of myself? How can I view this?
Yeah. The way I understand that is kind of using the two parts, or acknowledging and welcoming and embracing the two parts of ourselves. And the two parts being the subconscious and the conscious. And
I thought you were going to say human and spiritual.
Oh. Okay.
No, go with your thought. Go with your thought.
Because I feel the subconscious is the part that I'm seeing as being the part that just has an automatic, instinctual reaction that feels the agitation and the frustration or the overwhelm, right? The part that needs to be processed and honored and respected and needs to be worked through. You have that part.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do anybody any good to try and deny that part.
Right.
That's why we have to process it.
Yeah.
And acknowledge it. But though...
Not bypass and leap over.
Right. Don't try to ignore it and pretend that you don't feel it like that.
But I think that a lot of spiritual students, and we are spiritual students ourselves, tend to think that you're supposed to bypass that. Let's just hop over to what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, if you're actually very evolved and spiritual, then you won't
You're not gonna
feel
it.
then nothing will bother you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Okay. Yeah.
It's having the tools to know how to deal with things that come your way.
Without hurting others, hopefully, right?
Without hurting others, staying aligned. But finish your thought.
Okay, so that's the subconscious part that kicks up the dust and is like, holy crap, what the F? And just needs to freak out a little bit and discharge or whatever. And the conscious part is the part of us that's aware and has the capacity to observe and, I guess, to facilitate the space for the subconscious to do its thing, but to also then step in and say, thank you. And now let's use the power of the conscious to set a new meaning for what just happened. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's a real exercise for, that's hard, man. You know,
it is. Again, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
The ego and all that.
But I think, I'm thinking of so many different things.
Are you thinking of the
impala
that I told you about? Remember the video?
But why don't you tell that story?
Okay.
I love that story.
So I came across this video of an impala out in the wild that had been caught by, I think it was a cheetah. And this impala, acting out of its instinctual subconscious, went into this state of fight, flight / freeze. So it just froze. And I think the state is called tonic immobility. I'm not exactly sure of the exact scientific name, but there's a state that animals, including humans, will go into when faced with extreme trauma, and you just freeze.
Yeah,
you just freeze, and essentially it's like you're dead. You play dead, like you can't move, you can't do anything.
I guess it's kind of like those scary movies where you're yelling at the person, and you're going, "Get up! Like, go! What? Why are you taking so long? Like, go!" But maybe they're in that state.
They're in the freeze state. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But the truly fascinating part was, thankfully for the impala, the cheetah got scared off by something else, and it left. And so the impala was left there in safety, right? It wasn't in danger anymore. It was being left alone. And it started to revive itself. It wasn't literally dead, but you could see that it began breathing heavily, and give it more time. Okay. Then you see that the impala is now sitting up on the grass, and the body of this impala just starts wiggling and wiggling and wiggling, just jiggling in its place. It just... While sitting up, it's just jostling itself, and it looks really weird. But apparently that's something that just naturally wild animals know to discharge and to process the energy, to process the adrenaline or whatever, all the energy that gets built up from this traumatic experience that they just had. It's the wisdom of the body, the biological wisdom that knows, okay, you got to discharge this stuff. You just got to let it go, let it go, let it go. And then after it's let go, then Okay. You've gotten back to true equilibrium, not some kind of societally imposed idea of decorum and having it all together. No, you've actually discharged all this energy and you can, resume. So I kind of feel like, I feel like, hey, maybe I need to, literally after I saw that video, I was like, I kind of shook myself out and just kind of thought, hey, maybe I need to make this more of a regular practice, kind of just wiggle and shake and discharge the energy.
Well, there is this thing that my friend told me about that is like exactly what you're saying.
Okay.
And it's called trauma releasing exercises.
There we go.
TRE, right?
Okay.
And my friend does this and she goes, and she lives in this okay, sorry, I don't know what that is.
Big engine's going by again.
She lives in a high-rise apartment that it's all windows. But she's like, thank God no one can really see me. She goes, because if they saw what I was doing, they would think I was a crazy person.
Because does
you're
that
shaking.
wiggling thing.
You're shaking. And there's like a method to it. Like you start with your back against the wall, bracing yourself a bit with your knees bent.
Okay.
And then you just allow your legs to shake a little. And then as you consciously just release your body, depending on what trauma you have stored in your body, you just start shaking uncontrollably.
Wow.
But there are exercises to do in order to really release that. But it talks about how these traumas that are stuck in our body really prevent us from our what is that called? From our spiritual growth, from like moving forward, from growing.
Yeah, it's kind of like arrested development, right?
Yeah. So releasing it, from the body.
That's so neat.
Which is also why, massage, deep tissue massage can also be very effective. But yeah, it's really interesting.
Really trippy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, so that's all fascinating stuff that we've learned and heard about, and now I'm interested in checking out that.
Yeah, I have
what is
the
that
link
trauma
right here.
release?
It is called TRE, trauma releasing exercises.
Okay, yeah.
Trauma releasing exercises, and it was done. Let me see.
So it sounds like that's an example of honoring, respecting, doing the process of feeling the feelings.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So you got to take care of that.
You might not be in a place where you can be shaking yourself.
Right.
But
sitting at your desk.
But it might really be helpful to
to check it out.
To check it out.
Sure.
But here, I just pulled it up really fast, and it's basically their trademark, so it is something called tension and trauma release exercises, or TRE, trademarked. So it's a series of exercises that assist the body in releasing deep muscular patterns of stress, tension, and trauma by shaking and vibrating the body. And ultimately, this calms your nervous system. Because I do think that if you have had some kind of trauma and it hasn't been released from the body, right? Yep. Mentally, you might think, I went through therapy for that. I'm done with that. But the body is still holding on to it.
Yep.
Then your nervous system still thinks it's under that level of stress.
Right.
So your normal is on a level of stress. Yeah. So you're operating at that stressful level, and you might not even know it because it's so normal. It's normalized.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, okay. So
that's the way our conscious mind can help our subconscious, right? Our conscious mind can be like, hey, let me help you out with this TRE thing. And then use the conscious mind again to choose a new perception.
Yes. And if all else fails, something that you can do that I have done, and I have Post-its by my spiritual area to look at in the morning, is to really pray. I bless and release this situation. I bless and release, and the person's name, if it's a person, right? I bless and release this circumstance. Bless it and release it. So that's something really easy to just kind of resort to if you're just feeling too much that I can't let go of the feeling. Just bless and release it. Take deep breaths and bless and release it. Another thing you might want to do if you feel more like, okay, no, I want to do something more, is before bed, you can think about how the day went and whatever situation happened that you are still feeling triggered by, perhaps. You can think of the situation and rewrite it in a way to how you would have liked to have responded to it, how your higher, more wise self, how you would have liked that part of you to have handled a situation. So if it was an argument and you feel like, God, I didn't handle that well, but it's bothering you, you're still in the emotions of it, it's hard to change your perception on it. Before bed, just redo it, replay it in your head, and replay it in a way that you wished it had gone, because you really send out that vibration. And even though you might think, oh, it doesn't really change anything. Again, we're energetic beings, first and foremost, and it's going to change it. Even if it's not on such a...
It's changing your perception of it.
It eventually will, you know, just by having to choose, okay, what would I have wanted to have said? Okay. And then you're imagining saying that thing, and then what would I have said next? That whole process is helping you to do that.
Yeah. I think making any effort, like either the ones that you just described or any effort at all at self-awareness, self-reflection, reflecting on, hey, what part did I play in creating this dynamic that I'm complaining about now, you know, that sort of thing, or what lesson do I have? Making any kind of effort at all from that conscious side of ourselves is better than not.
Absolutely.
It's better than consciously saying, I'm going to keep, you know.
I just like to complain.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Alrighty. Wow. Okay. That was a fun conversation. Or just shake.
Wear a rubber band around your wrist, and every time you find yourself just bitching, snap yourself.
Okay, until next time.
And I'm not talking about those thin little rubber. I'm talking about like the thick one around celery. Or like around, you know, around like your bunch of like
you can't even
broccoli.
Put that around your wrist. It's too small. Oh no, I guess celery, that's big. Okay. Alrighty, folks. Thanks for joining us. Woohoo! Until next time.
This is Sienna.
And this is Toast. Woo! Wow, I didn't even have a coffee.
Oh gosh.
Telling you,
let's give you one.
Love life, live free.